So device on the bench to work on today is this fan here, and it's the HDX fan from Home Depot, cheapo. It does move quite a bit of air, not as much as my fan, but it does move quite a bit of air. However, we had an issue while I was working the other day. It made one heck of a sound. It was beautiful. It scared the crap out of me because I was alone, sanding. It was nice and peaceful, nice and quiet, and it just made this racket. And anyways, if you look very closely at the blades, right, let's see, there it is, I think. Hold on here. I know you can see it because I saw it the other day. I think that's actually it right there. If you look right there at the blade, there is a dent in the fan blade where it hit the capacitor, the start capacitor, the run capacitor. Here it is, and it just tore it off. And what happened was they forgot, or neglected to remember, or neglected to design around it, that these fans have vibration, and that little screw right there held a little plastic tab that was attached to that capacitor, and the tab broke loose. Vibration and time killed it, and it came off, loosened up, and hit the fan blades. So ever the practical one, I just took it and routed the wires through the cage and soldered them together, heat shrunk them, double heat shrink, just to guard against vibration. Oh my gosh, see how hard it is? And just zip tied it to the outside, and that'll be a very durable fix for this. It does work, hangs right up. It's not a quiet fan. My fan is much quieter. Does work very well, so I'll take this back to work and give it to my boss. I'm sure he'll appreciate, my bosses will definitely appreciate having a working fan again. It does get hot in our shop. Since the fix-it bench was pretty boring this evening, and I didn't show how it was made, I'll talk about my drawer faces. The faces are framed. Each one there's a tenon that goes into each piece. There we go. All right, there we go. The tenon goes inside, and there we go. It's glued in place, and it's pretty sturdy gluing. And then the end, and you can see the piece that holds it together right there. That spline goes all the way through. It just helped me to line it up while I was gluing these up so that they wouldn't slide. I could have used biscuits, but I could have used biscuits, but I already had these splines from, you see the offcuts right there? These are the edges of pieces of wood. So when I cut a piece of wood to size, I usually cut it a little bit oversized, and always end up with little splines, and I use these a lot for gluing panels together. Works just as good as biscuits in certain types of wood, like this maple works very well. Splines from mahogany would not, unless the grain was running this direction. The grain on the maple is pretty wild, so they're pretty strong. And destructive testing shows that the glue will fail. Not at all. The glue will not fail. The wood will fail long before the glue does. See, there's the glue right there. And that was hitting it point on with a mason's chisel. You can hit the piece of wood point on with a mason's chisel, and you see the crazy grain inside of the wood, by the way. But the wood gives away just as easy. Especially if you hit it across the grain, which, as you can see, I did with the chisel right there. Which, by the way, just illustrates how useless thin end grain cutting boards are. Don't do it, it's a waste of money. However, moving on to these end pieces, because they're end pieces, will not be glued on. They'll be pinned. There will be 2 pins driven in right here, okay, and one at either end. And on the inside, there will be a slot drilled in there I'll make a slot so that the pins can move in the slot, and that is to let the panel expand and contract with the seasons. That's very important because wood does move. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I got these cool brushes from Titebond, and they're the company that manufactures the glues that I use in the shop the most. I use a lot of Titebond glue. I usually go through about 2 gallons a year. If you look over there, right there, in line with my finger, there's a gallon right there. I think that is what's left of the 2nd gallon this year, so I've actually used more than normal. But these brushes I thought were very gimmicky, and I made a point of pointing that out. And so Titebond sent me a couple and to try out. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I am impressed. I am not knocked out, but I'm impressed by them. The pros of it is that it does spread glue very evenly. It works just like a regular brush. But there's cons though. One of the cons is that the bristles are pretty fragile. You see I'm missing a few. And that's kind of a drawback, but not an end all. Here's another con. When you're brushing, that little end sometimes pops off. So I don't know, somehow try to fix that in there. I may drill a hole and drive a pin through it, both pieces, just to try to keep it in place. However, my glue bottle is doing very well in conjunction with this. I use this on all these joints, and the glue line is so much more even than I have ever been able to achieve before using just a regular brush. As you can see here, you can barely see the glue line, and I assure you, the way I glue is I put glue on one side and glue on the other side so that there are 2 mating faces, and then I clamp them and clean up the ensuing squeeze out that you can see right there. Now, again, there are some cons, and one of the I've told you 2 of them. One of the cons is the price. I'm still not sure that I would have bought these. They're just a little expensive for what they are. It's just a little piece of plastic with a silicone brush on it. And I'm not that impressed by the price. Maybe as more people buy them, or if more people buy them, they will go down in price. I'm not sure. But as far as the quality of use goes, I have got to say that I am impressed by that. It has been a turning point in my glue ups, and if you're the type of person who likes to use a brush, and I am, then I highly recommend these. So give them a shot, and let me know what you think if you are going to do that. If you are so inclined, I'm not going to twist your arm. So if Titebond happens to watch this, thank you very much for sending me those. I don't believe I will be without them ever again. So thank you very much. Anyway, that's it. You can see my personal project, our entertainment center here is a personal project, and as such, it falls behind just about everything else. Like the fan on the bench, you know, I get paid when I make repairs. I get paid when I build things for other people, and because of that, personal projects often fall to the wayside. My lathe is a personal project, and it has fallen to the wayside. I haven't done anything to it except for come out here and make sure that it's lubricated and cleaned up. My radial arm saw, the DeWalt over there, is a personal project, and as such, it is also just sitting there. As time goes on, as people donate, whatever, or as people put me to work and I get more money in the shop fund, yeah, I hope to pick up some of these personal projects and get them done with. So that's the way the shop sits right now. I've had some stickers sent to me. This is from my friend Mark at Nomad Boat Building. Be sure and check him out on YouTube, because if you want to know about the boats that I built, he puts together much more concise videos than I ever will. And if you go to his Patreon page, you can pay anywhere from $5 to $20 a month, and you basically are signing up for free lessons on how to do this. And each one of his videos is very concise, it is very clear, and Mark goes through the effort to answer your questions if you have any. So be sure and ask him some questions if you go to his Patreon page. Or if you just watch his YouTube channel, you can ask him questions too. He does interact with the people that that watch him and that pay attention. So City Hardwoods is where I get a lot of the better lumber I get. So if you're ever in the Birmingham area and you need some hardwood, I recommend them over Woodcraft because they're a good bunch of guys. They seem like they know what they're talking about, and they have good wood. Nobody's paying me to say all this shit. Again, these are my videos for me, and you know, it is what it is. So any questions, of course, I always answer them. And thank you for watching. Have a good night.